Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to get underway.
No.
Woo! All right. Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Welcome to Coming of Age, the Legion Minisodes.
Hi, guys.
We're fucking incredibly just like
Elated, excited, so happy.
we're gonna talk about chapter 19. We have the voices in your head. This is Chase Cummins.
And that is Alan Loosebrock.
Welcome to the show.
Ooh,
we are
good
talking
one.
about chapter 19 tonight, which is the season finale, season 2. Holy fucking shit. It was so cool.
From the beginning to the end is one of the most impressive and entertaining pieces of television I've watched live in a long time.
Yeah, it was incredible. Let's fucking jump right the fuck in because
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this shit.
Me too.
It was so good. So it literally starts off with the tuning fork flying through the air. The choke is what they call it. It's like the power dampening device.
The frequency that dampens
Fucking
powers.
insane. Just sticks in the ground while it's like FX Marvel present and shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's from right where Farouk threw it at the end of the
It's
last
so
episode.
fucking cool. And then we just get David levitating on this incredible landscape,
Yeah.
singing behind blue
Blue
eyes.
Like a very modern, not auto-tuned. It wasn't auto-tuned, but there was like a synth over
yeah.
it
There was
and,
more.
like,
There was more.
yeah.
You know,
It wasn't the Who, but it was such a cool rendition. It fit in so well with like the music that we've heard in this show so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. You see him levitating, and then you see Farouk levitating as well. Like, and they're going at each other. Oh my god, it was so good. I want to watch it again so fucking bad.
It immediately hit me, and it hit all of the things I really love when I'm moments that are experiences I love when watching movies, which is cinematography and music and acting that all combine together. And in this instance, it was the way he's floating and the way the camera shots are moving to the song, and he's mouthing the words to the song, the words are coming out of his mouth, and the way it was all put together was so idiosyncratic, and it was just everything I want in any kind of movie or show. All my favorite scenes in movies are shots like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, absolutely. That's so fucking odd. That was incredibly well put.
It's so good. It just immediately hits this chord of, oh, that's badass.
Yeah, it was so badass. And then Farouk singing in French
Yes,
as well,
exactly.
right back. You're like, oh my god. I didn't even you're so wrapped up in that you forget what might actually happen with the scene. I was so in the moment.
It almost becomes it pulls you into the moment, or you just want to watch them singing this song almost. But then the words hit you in this way where David's singing it and it hits me in the original intonations of the song. And then it cuts to Farouk, obviously, and he's doing the French.
and
that
it gets a
obviously
little darker as well.
Yeah, and it changes
the tone.
Oh, totally. And it changes the way that you kind of hear that song, but I still recognize the song even though I don't understand the words coming out of his mouth. But there's a moment where they start coming together and they finally meet on the hill, and we get those great split diopter shots of David's face and then Farouk behind him, and they're still saying the words of the song. And there's a moment where he goes it's the lyric in the song where he says it's about revenge. It's to seek revenge, telling only lies. Revenge is not free.
Yeah.
And it's not free, or whatever that line. And the way David says it hits you like the original line in the song. And then the way the Farouk says it, he says it where it changes it for me, where he's revenge, and it isn't free. like the act of revenge
Yeah.
itself has its own
And
consequences.
from the
It-
different perspectives, it like changes the meaning, and they both.
which informs the entire episode of the show, because what he's showing you is David's act of revenge and all the consequences that come afterwards is Farouk's doing. It's him going, these are your consequences for seeking revenge on me. And in this timeline, it's now different from the other timeline. In this timeline, Farouk hasn't died. He didn't get killed in the desert like he was supposed to get killed in the desert.
That's true.
So we don't know exactly where the show is going to go, but seemingly David is still heading down like a more selfish and evil path at the end because of everything that happens.
Absolutely, at the end. Holy fucking
But
shit.
it becomes evident now, I think, to him that all of the consequences are because of Farouk's doing, and it may not be evident to him, but it's evident to me that like Farouk set all this up. And I feel like right in that moment in the song, the way they deliver the line from the song tells you exactly like what's going on in the episode.
Yeah, I would agree. That's fucking crazy. I did not think of that. I mean, obviously not at the time, but that's perfect. Like really, holy fucking shit. And then we just have this fucking animation. Honestly, just the animation. Like we're like fucking 2 minutes in the episode.
Yeah.
Like the animation, just like the chalkboard stuff in the first season. That's like, you know, obviously the same animator and stuff, but just it being in the 3D element around them and how they're fighting on the astral plane in like a real sort of realm.
Yeah. And the way they use it, it's cartoon. It feels the most comic book thing like we've seen. And there's a lot of stuff in this season, I think, that and in this show that are reminiscent of comic books or stylistic choices like made in the like cinematic form of a comic book. This is the first time I really felt like that's the perfect blend of comics.
Yeah, it just sucks you in so fucking hard.
Because there's two things happening. There is acting going on between Dan Stevens and Navid Negabon, between David and the Shadow King in their real forms, and they never fade away completely. And in the background, you're getting all of this animation, and so it becomes a visual feast.
Fucking Cthulhu and T-Rexes and samurais.
And their battle is being symbolic of like their personalities and all this stuff, and so it's telling you all this stuff in the visuals. But then at the same time, if you just watch the two of them, you're getting the whole same story. Mm-hmm. And the way that they did this, it blows my mind.
I know, it's insane. There was a fucking graphic of like Lenny like stripping its skin, and it's just like the devil with the yellow eyes.
No, it was Sid.
It was Sid.
It was Sid because she had the glove. It had the gloves.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it was fucking insane, dude. Fighting dirty.
They were fighting dirty.
Oh my god, it's so good. But then it like after a good fucking wonderful orgasm that we had, we see Lenny is off in the distance with her special gun, I guess.
Being sexy as fuck, laying around in the sand, and then going, oh shit.
Yeah, and fucking shooting that choke eventually.
Well, what's crazy to me too is this whole season, well, not the whole season, but like the last half of the season or whatever, ever since he snapped his fingers and we got snippets of the plan in their brains, the shot of Lenny shooting the choke, that's the shot we've seen in all of the things. It wasn't the first time she shot the gun, which she's already done once. It's something else. I forget, it was in the last episode. And she shoots at something and then lays back and she's taking the smoke or whatever. And then, but the shot we see in all the flash forwards in the earlier episodes is the shot she's taking at the choke. It's the same camera shot.
It's like, it's the same camera shot, but you don't know like what she's shooting at.
Before, but now we know that she was shooting at the choke. So his plan was always to come down to her shooting that.
Yeah, for sure.
And with them, like, so
and
he planned it up to that
fighting
moment.
and him like fucking
killing him with
capturing him, like fucking
beating
the shit out of him.
I don't think Sid wasn't supposed to show up, and that's the Shadow King's doing, because the Shadow King took over Melanie and convinced Sid that David's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
But David's only the problem if he kills the Shadow King and Sydney rejects him. And he knows that the turning point is that Sydney rejects him. Mm-hmm. And he knows that if he kills the Shadow King, Sydney will reject him because of her seeing. That's when she sees the true him.
Yeah, exactly.
So he shows her the true him before that happens, and then she stops. His idea is she'll stop him from killing him, and he'll be able to enact that change.
Yeah, he'll be
in
able
David.
to. Yeah.
Because that's actually what the turning point is. It's Sid giving up on David.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all a fight for love.
Yeah.
Which goes very sour.
So, yeah.
So, like, I honestly feel super lazy for not ever looking back. Like, I don't remember Melanie as, like, a mutant at all. Like, I barely ever think of her as a mutant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I
What her
can't
power
remember
is.
what her powers are.
I think she's a telepath, but she's like a lesser, like, she's not as strong as like Oliver or David.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, for the Shadow King to be using her, like, showing, essentially, his plan was to use her to show how, like, fucking malicious David can be. Show Sydney how malicious he can be.
Well, trick her, kind of.
Yeah,
because he
exactly.
can be malicious, but it's like he still loves her.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what is like keeping him grounded.
For sure, but it's always the Legion, kind of esque thing where you're like, is he like good or is he like bad?
Bad?
Like,
Yeah. Well,
like,
they keep you on your
and it
toes.
could be both for
Yeah.
sure. But I thought that like Ptonomy would have filled that role a little better, being as he is the memory guy. And not like I don't fucking care. Like this episode is gorgeous. But it was a thought that I had.
Yeah.
And I was like, him showing memories and things like that. I guess like I don't know exactly how he would be doing that, but like that would make more sense for the Shadow King to be using Ptonomy.
But Ptonomy's kind of out of the
I know that,
now.
but like his power makes more sense.
I think
to be like delving into memories like that.
I think that the show eliminated his character in that capacity on purpose because that would be the next logical thing the Shadow King would do, and they didn't.
And they didn't want that. It would make it very different, the dynamic.
Yeah, and like they were going for a specific kind of dynamic because they're trying to make a specific kind of point about like the nature of time, the role that time plays in the show, and the dimensional aspects of this plays in the show, like the multi dimensions and stuff. And I think Ptonomy, if he was alive, he poses a threat in two ways. He can be manipulated by the Shadow King, or he could have been overlooked by the Shadow King and then saved everyone else by reminding them, like literally 3 weeks ago for us, 4 weeks ago, but like an indeterminable amount of time in the show, but not that long in the show, he just like pulled delusions out of all of their head. Yeah. Where they got into a mass psychosis, and then and he saved them all, and they were like turning on Vermilion, and so like Ptonomy would remind them of that and be like, someone's poisoned the well.
Yeah,
and
I also think there's his character in itself, like how he is and everything, like just everything we've seen from him. It just wouldn't fit that role to be like the catalyst for all of it to end. It just didn't. It wouldn't be the same thing.
And I think he's still at play. And I think his powers are still at play because I think his powers are some of the most interesting powers in the X-Men universe that I've seen visually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the cinematic universe, those are some interesting fucking powers. I think. And I don't
it's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. And I don't think Noah Hawley has dismissed that.
Oh, no, I don't think so at all.
Like he wouldn't. He didn't.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't see him die or anything. He seemed like he was doing pretty well in the Tree Matrix.
Yeah, he seemed capable. I mean, I'm not sure if we actually saw him in this episode, but I think we saw from his point of view. I think it
was actually from Fukuyama's point of view.
Well, I think he's integrated into Fukuyama. So
it could be from both, but I think it was necessary. Like
mainly
from Fukuyama.
Yeah, mainly it's Fukuyama.
Yeah. But you can infer that he's in there checking it out too.
Like he's seeing more than And I'm wondering if Fukuyama might have a bigger role to play in the next season, as like maybe like more of a voice of reason, because like the Vermilion obviously were willing to kill David and they saw him as a threat, but I'm wondering if because Ptonomy's in there and can see and he's not affected by this mass delusion, which I think what's interesting now is David's suffering from mass delusion as well as the rest of the group. And I think that's what the Shadow King wanted, and now the Shadow King's also still alive. and not dead like he was supposed to be. So like, who the fuck knows where this season's gonna go?
I just love that the whole season built so many characters up that are like so fucking powerful and so fucking cool and interesting as well. Like we have the Vermilion, and we still have like most of everyone that we had from the original first season as well. And then we have the Shadow King who's still alive as well. And then we have Fukuyama, and like they're all still alive, and they can all just grow into this just kind of weird fucking universe. And we just added so many crazy characters this season.
Yeah.
And they're
Naturally.
they're all still alive. I love that.
Characters
because,
aren't dying.
There's gonna be so much shit in season 3.
There's so many characters with so much agency all at play.
Yeah.
And they all have believable amounts of agency, and they all have their own agendas, and they all serve different purposes, and they're all very complex. Like the show's done a really great job of establishing Fukuyama as a complex character, which is strange, but like the Vermilion aren't so much, but like Fukuyama is like an interesting character
For sure.
and has a
The
mysterious.
Vermilion, we haven't even seen like very much of like how exactly they
integrate with him and like how they interact with his brain, because they're obviously at the service of him. They're his cameras and shit, and then beyond that, they play the role that they do. But there's a mysterious point of view there, so like that's a complex thing. Then you've got Melanie, you've got Sid, you've got both of the different Carries. Both of them have their own points of view and their own agency and their own reasons for like existing and what plots they serve.
May I say, male Carrie, fucking incredible in this episode. Like completely changing, like because he saw the fucking treachery that was going on. It was just like, holy fucking
but
shit.
Misinterpreted it, I think. I honestly think it was a misinterpretation. I think David was was fucking up and making mistakes, and he should have been more honest with Sid, and I think it would have prevented what happened. And I think that's
he was doing everything he could. He was doing,
but he was
sinner's
trying
best.
to save love. Yeah, he was actually at the very end trying to save love when Sid gave up on it, but it was because Sid had been manipulated by the Shadow King. And I think the scene where he takes the mouse. That's what happened. Like, you drugged me and then you had sex with me. But that's not how she would have seen it in her normal Sid. I don't think normal Sid would have seen it that way. But she's been poisoned by him. And that was the whole point.
Well, she had to have been, obviously, because she was.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. That fucking scene was so fucking cool. Like, literally, the Shadow King getting crowned with that like fucking device that helped David almost in the first spot. Like what it like helped to calm down like the voices in his head, I think, and like helped him concentrate.
Yeah,
his little halo that he had around his head, and they put like a similar looking thing, but it was like fucking
way bigger and had all the
bigger like kind of Statue of Liberty type like crown around his head.
And they all inject into his brain. Yeah.
Fucking awesome. Well, so fucking cool.
And he gets crowned the Shadow King. He is the Shadow King. Like, it's so crazy. It's like because there's a lot of God metaphor in this. Excuse my burping. There's a lot of God metaphor in this, and I think that that's his crown of thorns. They put the crown of thorns on it.
For
and
sure.
Like, there's like a
Carrie's
weird...
like, this is gonna hurt. Fucking puts that shit on. Like, it's immediately what I thought of.
Yeah,
like just
the
like
crown
fucking,
of thorns.
Yeah.
And then in the scene where David is talking to his devil and angel, essentially, and they're both telling him that fuck Sid, basically.
Yeah, they are.
But one of them's like destroy the world, and the other one's like you're a god.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah, so it's literally like a devil and angel kind of situation. And then he comes out and he wakes up and he does the thing to Sid. But which is not apparently what he was supposed to do. I think he was supposed to just go kill the Shadow King in front of everybody and then just be powerful. And that was like what happened. But he erases Sid's memory and then he goes into the truck and he says to Lenny, God has a bigger plan for you. And she goes, I don't believe in God. And he goes, I think you do.
Yeah, he says something like he has a bigger plan, like something like that. Like he's almost referring to himself.
Well, he's referring to himself, like God has a bigger plan
personality.
for you. But and he's using well, he's referring to him like God has a plan for you. And then I mean that obviously comes into play in the last the last scene, and from what we've seen in the last episode with the pregnant Lenny on the ground, the very beginning with Legion David, the comic book Legion David.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Season 3, what? It's gonna happen.
Which is 100% what they want you to think about. But like in that timeline, at least from what we know, Shadow King's dead. Shadow King's not dead now. So Shadow King succeeded in not dying and poisoning David. And finding what turns him and turning him.
Yeah. It's so fucking insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can we talk about... Okay, so the spider that like literally in the fight scene still.
Yeah, in the very beginning.
The all webbed up. He's like all fucking webbed up and losing and like gets bit by a fucking crazy ass cartoon spider.
Yeah.
And that's when Lenny like finally hits it and it resonates and they both lose their powers.
But before they do, he throws the web off his face, and then they're about to be like back on even playing ground.
Yeah. But it's only because I feel like it's like kind of dampening the power of the Shadow King.
But then they both get hit with the wave and they both lose their powers.
Exactly.
I think that they were I think he like legitimately gained an upper edge.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps.
For a second. I mean, he ultimately used that to get the best of the Shadow King, but then he's shooting it.
But that's when it goes. That's when episode stops and goes to 3 years later, and you're like, I was literally like, what? Like, what is gonna happen right now? And then it's Oliver and Melanie in their cube.
Yeah,
and they're just talking like documentary style to a camera. And just like
on a Super 8.
It's not too bad. Cube, sweet cube.
It's cold, but it's comfortable.
They're just like talking about like, oh my God. They're talking about, oh yeah. I can't remember. Oh, Farouk. Yeah. I think I remember him. Yeah. He had a very soothing voice, very hypnotic. That was a crazy part, actually.
Well,
that's
yeah,
a
that was
little
the end of
later.
it. Yeah,
That was like,
and he goes, I think I actually helped him.
Yeah,
and
no,
I was
like,
like, I think I helped him too. And
they
they just kind of like
crazy.
They kind of like zone
intense
out. Yeah,
kind of moment.
that's the end of that.
That's
but
the end of that. But
beginning
before
is so
it's super
funny.
Literally, it's like, how long have we been here? Soup.
How long have we been here? 1 month, 1 week. And he goes, what's the word? And she goes, soup.
No, we've been here much longer than soup.
Yeah. Soup. We've been here much longer than soup.
And it was just like, oh, we've just been losing so much hair.
Time, babe. Time. Time. That's what I mean. Time.
I love that whole joke running throughout the season of like the whole show, really, of him just Jermaine Clement just not understanding the world because he's been so detached for so long.
Yeah.
It's so amazing that, and then he'll just recite fucking poetry like perfectly. It's incredible.
His character is amazing, and he plays it perfectly.
He really does.
But Melanie is I think super good in this episode. Like I think her episode really like it was necessary to just have this moment.
I know
with her.
what you think. I understand, but I think the development of the character could have been done differently. But it's whatever. I'm completely fine. I fucking love.
I think it had a purpose.
It did have a purpose, Chase, but I think it could have been done differently and more blended in better with the show. Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree on that one. I thought that her moment in this was perfect, and it was kind of interesting that you don't see them again. Like, I honestly thought we were going to see them again by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, at the very end, we were going to get
It's very true, yeah. I honestly didn't even think about them anymore, like, after that.
I mean, it was, like, maybe 10 minutes after that scene, like, in the middle of the next sequence, after the commercial break, I thought it's probably going to end with something to do with Melanie. Like, we're going to get back to them. We're going to get back to that 3 years later. But we didn't.
Nope.
Which I like the way this ended, but it was definitely a cliffhanger. Like, I mean, they're gonna have a season 3 for sure.
Oh yeah,
but
so excited. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, it was so good. And when they're talking about all the people that they've just like, they're like David. He's like David. I don't remember him. Like he says like crazy shit. They're like talking to all the people. He's like, oh yeah, like
He goes,
the glasses McLab coat.
No, and the girl who kicks everybody. and then he was like, who else? Oh my god! And then she's like, oh, Sid. And he goes, you can't forget Sid. And he goes, I forgot Sid.
Yeah, he's like, I have to admit, I forgot Sid.
I forgot Sid.
It's so funny.
She's like, poor Sid, what happened to her? And blah blah blah. Yeah, she just talked over him, which I thought like was a great dynamic.
It was
between
like
the two of them.
like just like 1950s banter, like in between, and they're like listening to jazz and dancing around the room together, and being so weird. It was so incredible. It was an amazing comedy act. Like,
they were fantastic together. I want to see them together more in the next season. Like, I hope that they get paired off now.
They were really good. And Jermaine, he's never leaving this show. He's so fucking good.
He's so awesome.
I honestly had a feeling that we were going to lose him this season.
I thought he was gonna die.
When he was getting killed.
Yeah, or being tortured and shit. Yeah, I don't like. It seems to me like he was in the ice cube because they were freezing him. So it seems to me that like maybe he is being frozen again, but Melanie's also being frozen.
Yeah, they've just gone off,
and they're just like both in the ice cube together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they also they start talking about David, and they're like, what did turn him anyway? And Melanie's like, we showed him his future, and then that's when it like fucking.
What it was? Yeah, was it? She said, did she say we showed him his future, or he saw his future, or he was showed his future?
Yeah, something like that. Like
Yeah.
I was paraphrasing, but like he saw his future. In general,
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how it was, but yeah, that's like just kind of like the influence of seeing your own future.
Yeah.
What it has on you.
Not even seeing it though. Like, I mean, unless something happens in season 3 that we don't know about, but like he gets told about it. Mm-hmm. So like he sees the future Sid, and the future Sid seems to love him again, and she's manipulating him obviously, but she never tells him what the actual enemy is. And then present Sid does. And that seems to be like a revelation to him, but it's not what turns him. What turns him is losing Sid.
Yeah, it's true. Like once in the trial, like when he realizes that Sid is completely against him,
yeah,
that's when he's just like, oh, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, and that was awesome. The way he was just like that. All right, I'm done with this, and he just fucking breaks out.
And that part looks so fucking incredibly like comic booky. And like, okay, so I haven't read the comics, like I haven't read any Legion comics at all, but I swear I'm going to, like, so fucking hard. But it just looked very comic booky in general, and like what I've seen from Legion comic books, like
not comic booky in a bad way. Like
no,
also
incredible.
Like comic booky
like,
in a great way.
It looked fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
it looked very appropriate for what it was.
Yeah, going
mirroring,
for it. Yeah.
I
know exactly. I just wanted to clarify, like,
yeah.
Because sometimes I say things look comic booky and I mean it totally negative, but when I say it about this show, it is not negative.
It was awesome.
It was like
so good,
very unique.
It was like just the movement that he was making. It was so cool, and
the way they
just
sped up
the
his
force
movements and
field
he's like,
around him and everything was super just X-Men.
Oh, it totally was X-Men. I was about to say that. It was so X-Men. The way like they had the X literally crossing around him, and like all of it felt X-Men.
Yeah, it felt good.
And then when Farouk walks in and it's reflected in his fucking glasses.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that.
Just the whole thing of like Farouk being like the crown's being taken off him, and now he's part of the council. And like I think that's the biggest clue that they're all suffering. One of the delusions is he literally he's their enemy up until this moment, and then they just let him walk in and sit down and have a vote.
It's true. It's pretty fucking insane.
And it's like that's like I think for an audience member, and it's not supposed to be obvious for the characters, but for an audience member, that's obvious that like he's manipulated this.
Yeah. He has, but you're like wondering if it's kind of like they both
worked against each other.
They're both evil, like almost.
But I feel like David,
it makes you wonder at least,
Well, yeah, and I think David's capable of evil, and I think that the purpose of the show, the episode where we see the multi-dimensions and stuff, is showing that like under a lot of different scenarios he turns out that way or he ends up dying. And then like we get to this moment and we're like, well, he's definitely capable of evil shit. And he seems to be going down an evil path now that Sid's left him and he's grabbed Sid, and we've seen him in the very future, and we've heard about the end of the world, and we've done all this stuff. But there's this small ambiguity that like he might have like a piece of good of it in him. Like he's not
all bad
lost.
Yeah.
And he's not actually done anything evil yet. Like in our timeline. They've accused him of future crimes, and which is what he's like, future crimes.
Yeah,
what?
And they've kind of shown his past
enjoyment of
his
torture,
like manipulative kind of like while he was under manipulation. They've shown that in a different light, where it's like that was just you. The whole time,
But like they just say that, and it was also the Shadow King saying that. So like we're also playing with like skewed points of view, and these points of like it's what we talked about last week, where it's like this whole show is just switching points of view with characters that are completely unreliable. So like, they're all unreliable, and the only reliable one we have is David, and he's unreliable.
Yeah, exactly. This episode's super unreliable,
unreliable.
Literally breaks into three different characters, I mean, but two extra on each side of him.
They both take different extremes, but at the same time, kind of the same point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And that shit was awesome. I loved that, like, just actually showing them. And also, like, for a British actor, he has got some great fucking American accents.
Oh, I know. And he's doing different voices on all these guys.
They're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good.
And having seen him play British roles in the past, it isn't even off-putting watching him do an American accent. It is seamless. He's that excellent at an American accent.
Very excellent.
And like doing multiple different accents. And there's still a British persona somewhere in his brain. Like, which was part of the...
Oh, yeah.
It was part of last season. It was
like
part of
clever...
Like, it was his rationality.
Yeah, rationality.
His rationality is British, and I think it's hilarious. And he's not shown up this season, so I'm wondering if they'll bring rationality back, like his British version.
Man. They'll probably keep on going. I hope they just start naming all of his personalities.
Well, and that's what they are in the comics. They're like all different versions of him, and he has to learn how to like tame them. And I feel like Carrie is a perfect character to become that role, and I feel like maybe next season we'll see him develop like almost like the comic book Legion, like personality defects, where it's like each personality has like different strengths, and then once he is able to like control all of them, he becomes like the comic book Legion.
Yeah, you said Carrie, like the smart, like the glasses McLab coat. What are you saying? You think Carrie could be part of that?
Part of the one who builds the device.
Oh, true. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now.
Like, I feel like that could eventually be where the show is going to go, because they're establishing those characters as being able to have these skills. And now they're finally getting to the point where David, like in the scene where David's in the force field and they've imprisoned him and they're questioning him. And then he starts to see the what I'm going to call is the angel devil version of himself. And they're in the room and they start talking to him and he tells them to shut up. And it cuts to the Carrie's point of view. Yeah. And there's nothing there. And he's just like, there's obviously the look of like, we're validated.
Yeah. Carrie's looks in this, you're like, you fucking respect him. Like, I love him so much. He's just like, dude, like, I'm a silly guy, but nah, I'm not a fool. No bullshit guy. Like, I'm gonna fucking murder you.
Yeah.
If I have to. It's intense. I loved it.
Well, And I think that really shows Carrie's delusion too. Like he gets consumed by the delusion too. But at the same time,
But presented the information that he is kind of it's iffy. You know, you don't feel like he's
well, and I think that's
from his perspective. You know, it's hard to fault him.
Oh no, exactly. I think he's being fed the delusion by a third point of view. Like the evidence has now gone to support what he saw.
Yeah.
But it's not actually necessarily what happened.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, but that's how the delusion spreads. It
True,
spreads through.
but it's not, because just the manipulation in itself of David manipulating and erasing memories and stuff like that. I know it's for the greater good, but in the end, it still becomes an ethics thing.
Yeah,
you know,
no, for sure. But it was that point. He shouldn't have done that, but he was put in a position where he felt like he had to do that to save love.
I understand both sides.
Exactly. But
but that's the thing about the show.
Carrie's not seeing he's not seeing all that point of view, so it's still a flawed point of view, and he's an unreliable perspective because he's only seeing a piece of the story.
Yeah.
And from the piece he's seeing, it makes sense for him to do what he did. But
we're the only ones seeing all the pieces.
We're the audience. We're the ones who get to see where that's where the tragedy is, that's where the drama is. It's where the disconnect of information is with the characters.
So when they first introduce the other personalities of David, he's in his childhood room and he's watching the John Hamm egg delusion
from the first episode
on the TVs, and it just keeps on repeating and stuff. I fucking love that. It's just delusion starts as an egg.
Yeah, and I kept repeating that, and then he started saying it with him. Delusion starts as an egg.
Yeah, and then he's like, your first crack. And it shows that he cracked when he first met Sid.
That was the delusion that entered his mind, that he's good and he deserves love. That was the delusion. Yeah,
that was crazy. And then he starts talking about how he's gonna save the world, and he's like, no, this is not gonna happen. I'm the Omega. He literally says I'm the Omega.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy fuck.
And he doesn't have any seemingly self-awareness of that.
And they're just oh, Saint David, okay, you're gonna save the fucking world. So fucking crazy.
It was so nuts. And I think by introducing the John Hamm things into this, it really reinforces everything that we saw with his character up until he kills the delusion in that one episode in the mid-season. And then just showing that one clip, it really is just it brings all of that back into focus, because that all comes back into play later in the episode, where is he suffering from that monster, or are the rest of them suffering from that monster again? And I don't know. It was just a really cool unification of everything that happened, because when we saw that earlier, I was like, how the fuck is this going to come into play with the overall story? And I think it came into play this episode.
Yeah, for sure. It's so hard with Legion. You're like, when is this gonna make sense?
But it all does make sense now. Everything makes sense now. Then, and I trusted them from the beginning. I knew that I was gonna be confused until I wasn't. And obviously talking about it with you really clarifies.
Yeah, it clarifies a lot more.
Yeah, because you have to rethink about it and then contextualize it, and by doing that, it really brings the season into focus. But by the end of it, and it was the same with the first season, it really comes into focus.
Yeah, and it's crazy how they're both Sid is getting manipulated, is already manipulated by Melanie. And then David is getting manipulated by these other personalities who have just showed up. And they're literally telling him your love is so strong. Why did she just shoot you? And that's when he's in.
But I think what's crazy is those are created out of his self-doubt. And out of his it's his mental defense mechanism over losing what he had with Sid and having to come to terms with it. But it now makes him look crazy, and it makes him actually, when Sid has that moment where she's like, "You're not. We told you weren't crazy because you had a parasite in your head and you had to deal with it, but you're actually both. Yeah. You've had the parasite in your head and you have powers, but you're crazy."
And his power is so strong that like emotions can literally manifest themselves.
And he is still young at learning these powers, and so, but it comes across as him being crazy and as having both, like Sid said, and that idea, it has been corrupted in her head to where now she thinks he's crazy instead of just being like normal and powerful. And like I think that, like, those manifestations are there to help him get over her, but that leads him down the darker path.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so crazy. It's like dark side, light side, crazy. Fucking cool.
Well, there's so many God
amazing.
metaphors in this too.
Yeah.
Like they mention it. He references himself as a god.
The last 3 episodes have just like fucking gone like
It skyrockets.
yeah, it's so fucking crazy awesome. Oh my God.
And I think last episode we talked a lot about the cinematography. I think this episode, the cinematography served a much more utilitarian purpose of just like telling the bare bones story. Like obviously there's subtext, I'm sure, to every shot that there was, but like last episode it was a lot more abstract. This one was like, we're concluding things, and there was some abstract stuff.
There are beautiful shots. Beautiful shots for sure.
Beautiful shots.
Literally that one right above Farouk's cell, just looking down with like the kind of, I think it's like an octagon. Maybe it's more than that.
Yeah, I think it's like an octagon, but with the
like black and white,
the
spirals.
stripes. Yeah, the
stripes.
spiral.
Holy shit! And him just walking around, just hooked up to
And
his
it's like-
crown.
Yeah.
So fucking crazy.
I mean, the design, the shots, like everything served a purpose. It was motivated like before, but it took a little. It was like that episode in the middle of the season where we're like, oh my God, this explains so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't a simple necessarily like a simple approach, but it was a definitely like this is more of an expositional episode where we're closing the stories here and we're opening the stories for the next season, and we're making those like relatively obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I appreciate, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna end the season like that, that's the best way to end it. And then like the last line, obviously, you're just like, that's a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, like also it ends just like the first season ends,
Yeah.
but with different characters. One different character, but also Lenny has changed as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's not manipulated by it's not the Shadow King and Oliver going off into the distance.
It's David.
But it's Lenny's new body, who also has
His sister.
David's sister in it, going off together. That's crazy. I didn't think about that when fucking Lenny is pregnant in the future from last episode.
It's a doubling of the last season finale, and then it's a super fucked up implication.
Yeah, I didn't think about that till just now.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
But it's not his real sister.
Yeah.
It's not his blood sister. This is his real sister. It's not a blood sister. It's not as fucked as you want it.
Okay. No, I was kidding.
There can still be porn made about this.
It's crazy. Mutant porn, man.
Mutant porn. He uses
That
his
is
brain
very
to make
nuts,
her
though.
squirt.
But like, yeah, like I just love how the last episodes have just been like, let's get the fuck out of here. Like there's just like two characters going off together.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Now I'm thinking we might have missed a final scene, because there was a final scene in the first season, and we totally like stopped after the credits. There was a scene after the credits in the first season.
Oh, there was. No, but I don't think we missed anything.
I didn't fast forward.
We can yeah.
I'll check.
Well, we'll check.
We'll check. If
We
there's
did,
a final
my
scene.
God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. But I'm fairly confident there wasn't.
I hope not. But there was in the first season, and I'm like, oh, there might be. It's Marvel.
Yeah.
There might be.
Yeah, there might be. Bitch, there might be. Oh my God. Can we talk about Lenny fucking writhing on the ground after she shot that fucking choke? Like, it just cuts to her and she's just like, and then she like gets back to the gun. Like, she like is affected by the vibrations and waves of it too, but she's just having like a crazy weird like
Like
orgasmic.
orgasm.
Yeah, it was so weird. She was just like, it wasn't even like an orgasm. It was like,
Well,
it could seem like an orgasm, but really what it was is like her as a fucking crazy lunatic experiencing this intense sensation that probably hurts.
well,
And she's just like, "Ah," like smiling about it and being weird. It
Well-
was so fucking crazy. I love her.
I mean, I love her too, but let me ask you this. Was that writhing before she shot the weapon? Because I thought after she shot it and hit the choke, the helicopter came across the top and she was just like, motherfucker. And then goes, oh shit. And
No,
then
that's literally, no, they cut back. So she shoots and it ricochets and then they show them losing their powers. But after like commercial break, they show it again. And it's the same bullet. So it shows her shoot. Or I don't know if it shows her shoot, but it's the same bullet and it's her reacting to the first bullet she shot. And then that's when all the helicopters and everything shows up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the same shot,
Yeah.
but they just
They cut it
divide.
up.
They
Yeah.
divide it. you
I just
know?
need to see it without the commercial break. I need to rewatch the episode, honestly. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Oh my god. But yeah, I fucking love that. Just like little shit like that. God, I fucking love Lenny.
Well,
So goddamn.
Lenny's the best. And Aubrey Plaza fucking kills it. This is the
she's-
best thing she's ever done.
Dude, like I forget that it's Aubrey Plaza. Like that's how good it
Yeah.
is. Like
Honestly, the only thing I think I've seen her call shades of this performance in is The Little Hours. I think that like
she's so good.
I think like,
But that's very characteristic of her. That part is very characteristic of like stuff she's done in the past, like Parks and Rec and stuff like that. It's very
Yeah.
similar. Like this role is just so fucking
It's different.
out there.
well, she is like a whole. This character has so much of a range.
Yeah.
And now that she's two characters and she's struggling with that, it like as a not. I mean, Aubrey Plaza isn't struggling as an actress to portray that, but like the character is struggling with the fact that she's like two people now.
Yeah.
Like
And also
she's doing a great job of showing that conflict.
Yeah. Well, also like she's played pretty much three characters then in that too, but like, or like at least a character dealing with another character in their head, and then also a character being manipulated by
The Shadow King.
the Shadow King. Like
Yeah.
that's fucking insane.
You know, in the first season when she's doing like the black and white sequence with the silent movie
Oh,
stuff and
my
like
God.
all that, like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
God, give this woman an Oscar. Like it's so good.
What was the chapter name for the competing truths?
So the chapter name was yeah, I think it was the trial of the Shadow King.
Okay, it was like
It was
chapter
chapter
11.
12 or something like that.
Okay.
I think it was chapter 12.
I thought it was chapter 10, 3 years later, chapter 11, the trial of the Shadow King.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I think I remember chapter 12. But who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But it starts talking about like competing truths just through text and stuff, and like starts talking about how the heart and the mind have different perceptions of the truth,
Yeah.
and like
Well, and what is the truth? It's like back in the day they would send people off onto ships because they were insane. You know, I mean, this wasn't in the text; it was literally the dialogue right following the text.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
But it
exactly.
was like
It's talking about the
you
ship
know,
of fools.
the ship of fools, and then but what if we're the fools and they were the sane people? And it was like it only takes like. One sane person in a village full of insane people would make the sane person the insane one.
yeah, it's talking about the bruised apples
Yeah,
as well, like with the heart and mind.
exactly. It was if all the apples are bruised, the one apple that isn't is the
Yeah.
one that's bad.
Yeah,
And then like it only takes 9 out of 10. Like it only takes 9 people to believe something and one person to hang for
Yeah.
it to be
and that's
true.
crazy, and that's how they start the trial.
Yeah.
And like how it's pretty much talking about like the bruised apple. It's talking about like how everyone is bruised but David. Like it's almost
Yeah.
like kind of that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Everyone's fucking manipulated against him.
Yeah.
And that's almost the reason why he's going to fucking change.
Yeah.
And like why he like literally is just like, okay, no one fucking trusts me. Fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm powerful enough. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he turns into motherfucking white light, and turns into a goddamn angel.
Yeah, and they all realize their mistake for a brief moment.
Yeah.
For a very brief moment.
And then he just fucking disappears into that white light. Goes to Lenny. Is like, let's
let's talk about when he walks into Liddy's cell and you see the ripples of space. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking insane. So cool. And he's just like, you ready to get out of here? And she's like, shit, yeah, I am.
And then the people come in and they start shooting at him, and he's just like, no one's going to hurt you.
Yeah, yeah. And Lenny goes, what happened to Blondie? She
goes,
said, there ain't no Blondie no more.
Yeah.
That's the last line.
No, the last line is, what do we? Sid runs in, and then the interrogator comes in.
Oh yeah,
and then like the people
and
she's just like, "What are we gonna do now?" And he goes, "Pray."
Yeah, pray.
And then it just goes. It just ends.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Lenny and David's baby is gonna be like.
Oh my god. I can't imagine where the show's gonna go from here, because now what we have is so much. We have the Shadow King extracted from David. We have an understanding of David's motivations. We have David
Also, the Shadow King has his
love,
body now.
and the Shadow King has his body, and so he's a powerful and an unethical character on his own, and with his completely own agenda. And now we don't even know what that agenda is, because beforehand his agenda was to get his body. Now he's got his body and he survived.
Can we talk about also real quick before we end this scene real quick, him short circuiting like just a little bit, enough to like let out the whisper, like his crown, he short circuits it and like let out this whisper to the mouse.
Yeah.
That scene and the fucking fiddle that's playing, like the violin that's playing during that scene, is like, it's not French. It doesn't feel French. It almost feels Italian. Like
almost,
it feels like Godfather-esque.
Yeah.
Like the way
there's like a Nina Rota like epicness to it.
It's so fucking epic. It was it was incredible. I like honestly was like, damn, you can get that mouse to chew the wires.
No, but he did something crazier with it.
Yeah, way crazier.
He got the mouse to and
was
like
who he is and manipulated the fuck out of someone.
Sid. Yeah. That was crazy.
So crazy.
And the way he held the mouse to his mouth and the way the scene was lit and everything, it was so beautifully executed.
So fucking
and like
cool.
It was obviously a real mouse. It was obviously Navid Negabon, and like the way the mouse's ears were like the way you would see it through the light and stuff. I don't know. It just like it looks so good. It looks so good.
That scene was gorgeous. That scene, literally, I was in awe of how good the show is. Like in that scene.
The show.
There was a lot of scenes, but that one in particular was like kind of my favorite in this episode. It literally like had me stunned. I was just like, this just looks like classic fucking storytelling done in such a new way.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what it was. And it was gorgeous. Holy fuck.
It was so beautiful. Like, and it really is classic storytelling. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, you may go episode by episode, week to week, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. But when you take it as a whole, it is a classically told story.
It's even telling you why the entire time.
Yeah.
You have to piece it together for sure. You need the entire picture.
Yeah, to see everything. But it is giving you like footnotes along the way to be like, hey, here's the concepts behind this show. Yeah.
It's literally presenting the concepts because it needs to.
It's like an incredibly,
because it's so fucking complex.
It's like an incredibly obvious cinematic equivalent to Infinite Jest. It's just like footnotes all over the place, but the footnotes are in the fucking like subtext.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're forefront, but you think like the way they're presented to you, you're wondering how integrated into the storyline they're going to become.
But they're all
and
integrated.
How they are.
Yeah.
How they integrate themselves as well. Like you're wondering if it's if it's throughout the whole thing, or like if this one little thing is talking about this guy in this episode, or like it's just so. With a show like Legion, you just think about every possible thing that could happen, and you're trying to figure it out.
You have to think about all the different perspectives, and you have to like at a certain point you have to come to the realization that like you're watching multiple different points of view, that none of those points of view are reliable, but certain things are reliable from different points of view, and that's why we've like seen repetition, I think, of certain scenes. Because we've seen certain scenes from different people's point of view.
Yeah.
So, like, think about the scene between Melanie and Sid early on in the show. And Melanie's talking about all the, like, you can't trust men and blah, 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 and whatever. We're seeing that scene from Sid's point of view. But then the next time we see that scene, which I think is in Melanie's episode, and we watch it all again, essentially.
And from her perspective, Sid and Carrie, like, disappear, and they almost seem like they're not even part of reality, which is her whole thing at the time.
So when we see it from a completely different point of view, so between the two, we know certain things are true, certain things happened, but then we have to start to discern like which of those things are true and which of those things are unreliable, and what it means to the story. And they all mean something, and those are just like two like small obvious like examples of it, but it's happening throughout the entire show. And it really is a puzzle, and it's a puzzle of like that's not even trying to tell you it's a puzzle. It's presenting itself to you like a straightforward story, but it's going like, oh, by the way, here's these little clues that you're not seeing everything from one perspective. And the truth isn't in any single perspective. It's in the amalgamation of all of it, and also your own fucking experience coming to the show.
Yeah.
Like how you read it.
I hope John Hamm and Patrick Stewart are both in the next season.
I hope Patrick Stewart shows up. I know he knows Dan Stevens, and I saw the interview.
Yeah.
I saw the interview.
Yeah, me too. And it's like, all right, hoping you're saving it just for a little longer. That's fine. But like,
you're coming to season 3 now.
Sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
Maybe fucking Pat Stewie comes in and like shows David what's up. Kind of just a little father figure kind of shit.
I don't know if that's what happens in the comics, though.
I know, but
I think they become enemies for a brief period in the comics, and I think that would be so. That's kind of what I'm saying. Cool.
You know, he like fucking lays down the law, and you know, I don't know how.
And they go at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fucking tight.
I just want to see Patrick Stewart play Xavier in this universe, in this specific universe.
Yeah.
Because I think Patrick Stewart's Xavier is perfect. And I think out of all of the movies, some of them good, some of them shit, he's the glowing star. Him and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Sure. He's just so calm and collected and like prophetic.
He is Xavier, though. Yeah. To me, like that is Xavier. Like when I read the comics as a kid, that was and then I saw the movie. It was like that was perfect. In my brain. That is the perfect Xavier, and he is like obviously when you see Logan, he's completely capable of playing that character in extreme circumstances.
Yeah. Well, like I've just imagined him at the beginning of this episode, like floating through the air, levitating on the landscape like that. Looks incredible.
Cool. Yeah,
it looks great.
Well,
also just like fucking let Marvel Television have Magneto and shit too. Like if we could have Magneto doing that shit, that sounds incredible. That sounds way better than all these fucking first class movies we've been getting.
Days of Future Past or whatever it is. And
God, First Class was actually fine.
And Days of Future Past, I think, was fine. Armageddon sucked dick.
Apocalypse. No, Days of Future Past sucked dick too. It was pretty bad.
Is that the
only cool parts was that Wolverine was in it, and like they did the whole 70s shit.
The 70s shit was cool.
70s shit was awesome, and anything where they bring just Nazis back and stuff like that, I always love that.
I'm like entertained.
It's like Nazis and fucking superheroes, yeah. But
Captain America
happens a lot. Propaganda. Come on, you Americans, fight the Nazis.
The Nazis were terrible,
or your
though.
own president.
Apparently, the Nazis are back. Let's fight them.
I guess.
I mean, we fought him before.
Let's do it tomorrow. God damn it. Why did this happen? We love Legion.
Fucking Legion. Well, okay, I also want to honorable mentions. There's a moment where Sid's got the gun pointed at David, and she starts comparing him to serial killers.
Yeah.
And I think last week we made a liking, like a meta, like we compared him to Ted Bundy. And I think that was.
I think you compared him to Ted Bundy.
I compared him to Ted Bundy, and you agreed with me.
I did agree.
So we compared him.
Yes, we agreed upon
The comparison. Yeah.
And boom, boom, boom. So
And then boom, boom, boom. She compared him to Son of Sam. And,
Yeah.
Another serial killer. I don't remember.
Probably should know. I literally heard that line. I was like, I should know more about that.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard that story. I don't know. I don't remember that. I just thought that was a nice honorable mention that we pointed that out. That was how she was being led to believe he's like, and then that's what she used against him. Was comparing him to people like that.
Well, that's what she felt about it. That's how fucking intensely she felt about him, that comparison.
She was like, the wives of serial killers must have known somewhere that they were with a monster.
They must have had a feeling.
Yeah.
When they were out with duct tape in their van.
Yeah.
God damn it. Fucking scary ass shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So fucking compelling.
Very, very compelling.
Fucking compelling.
Come fucking compelling. It was fucking compelling.
It's a guy's name in Wall Street.
Come fucking compelling. How my stock's doing today? Come fucking pelling.
So, Mr. Pelling.
I'm sorry, that's come fucking to you.
I didn't go to no school for you to call me Mister.
The name's come fucking, and yes, I have an MBA.
And my GED. Thank you very much.
That's right, I finished school. Because I'm come fucking pelling.
Wow. Okay. Love Legion. That was our minisodes. We're gonna do another one.
We're due one in a couple weeks.
Gonna do one in a couple weeks. We're gonna kind of do a little bit of deep dive. Probably watch the fucking season again. Well, not probably. We're absolutely
going
to watch the season
we're
again.
Probably gonna watch the whole series,
and then we're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk about it. Honestly, yeah, the whole series could. Dude, this first season is so fucking good.
Good, yeah.
God,
it's just a benefit. It's a benefit of a good show.
Oh, it's such a good show.
Watch the whole thing. I'm gonna read some of the comics, and we're gonna get back to you on a Legion after the final rose.
Yeah. So today's the 11th. Probably a little.
It'll be like 1st of July.
Yeah.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, ish. Maybe
when
a little
you hear
before,
it. When
maybe
you hear
not,
it.
you know. Come on back, listen to us. Hope you enjoyed this.
Listen to our main episodes, guys.
Yeah,
we got big movies. We got plans for you. We're gonna bring you along on a journey through the cinema.
Journey of tomfoolery.
It's a journey of tomfoolery through the cinema.
Yeah, and we also like art and jokes.
And we're going to combine the two in a very specific way.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice for you. So yeah, if you enjoy this, just keep on coming back. We love you. And
I would like to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.